Hey, it's Mike. How are you? Thanks for taking a look at this video in which I'm going to talk about paper number 3's prompt. You're going to be defining an abstract concept. You can find the prompt under last week in the Moodle, right? So last week, of course, being the 18th through the 24th. So we're going to talk about abstract versus concrete. We're going to talk about comparing and contrasting your categories, and we're going to talk about appositives in this video. So the prompt asks you to define a little known or misunderstood abstract concept through the use of classification and division. You're going to choose a concept that you're into, that you're interested in, otherwise the paper is going to bore you and me both. Right? And you are going to use appositives, division, and compare and contrast strategies for the assignment. That's going to be the framework that you use. So when we're talking about abstractions, we're talking about things that exist in thought and in theory, but not necessarily on the physical plane. Right? So we're talking about ideas and concepts here. Generally, theories are good, ideas are good, genres are good, isms are good. Right? This week you're being asked to talk about, or you're being asked to read an essay about cannibalism, which is an ism, certainly. I'm going to be talking about post-punk as a genre. So things like that, ideas and concepts, things that don't exist, things that you can't touch, right? Concrete ideas aren't ideas. They exist on the physical plane. They're real, right? So a book is an example of something that's concrete, right? A book might contain ideas, a book might contain theories. It might contain plot, right? Plot is an abstract concept, but the book itself is concrete. So there's some reading for you to follow up on this week in the Moodle. So please do check that. It's a little confusing, this assignment, so you're going to email me 3 abstract concepts by the end of the day, Sunday, last day of March, and I'll let you know if you're on the right track. Then from there, you can pick one of your 3 abstract concepts and you can start your annotated bibliography. I'm looking for 4 sources on it, and we're looking for that by the end of the day, Sunday the 7th. Right, so the key to defining an abstract concept, because abstract concepts tend to be really big, is to break your idea into smaller ideas or subcategories, right? So the cannibalism essay has some examples of the way that you take cannibalism, which is big, and you break it up into smaller subcategories. Dietary cannibalism, which is totally gross. Ritual cannibalism, things like this. And then you compare and contrast the categories. If you have an abstract concept that you can't break down, then it's not going to work for this assignment. So just keep that in mind. Here are some ways that you can compare, right? These are good signal phrases for comparing I'm not going to read all these for you, but look down at the bottom. Like punk, first wave post-punk was often not technically proficient, right? So I'm comparing first wave post-punk to punk, and I'm comparing by saying like, right? When we contrast, we're talking about how things are different. This is probably familiar to you, compare and contrast. Like punk, first wave, post-punk was often not technically proficient. Unlike punk, though, first wave, post-punk tended to use slower tempos. So I'm talking about how first wave, post-punk compares and contrasts with its predecessor, punk. We're also going to use appositives when you define terms for the first time. Right? Appositives, or defining a term when first introduced, makes things easier. Right? So you introduce a new concept and you follow it immediately in the same sentence with the definition. So you can see some examples here. So just to review, you're going to be choosing an abstract concept. You're going to break it into smaller subcategories. You compare and contrast what's similar and different about the subcategories, and you use appositives to define new terms. If you're doing all those things, if you have 4 credible sources, you should be in good shape. As always, if you have any questions, I'm at mfournier@hcc.edu. All right, so thanks for watching. I hope that this helps. Good luck. Peace.